Hello. In what will hopefully be a very short video, I want to address some related topics in music fundamentals. First, pitch. Second, pitch class. Third, octave numbering. First, pitch. We've already said that pitch refers to this thing that we describe in terms of high and low, and it's worth reiterating that there is nothing actually higher above, physically, spatially, about this note compared to that note. On the piano, we know that they're actually right and left, right? And depending on where you're standing, they could be left and right. So I'm going to show the keyboard on the screen for a second. So this one is to the right. That one is to the left. Why are they higher and lower? It's not really very important. And it's worth noting that different cultures describe them in different ways. We happen to use high and low. It's closely related to the way we notate pitch as higher or lower on the staff, higher or lower on the page. But what's interesting, as you know, we have a musical alphabet that has only 7 letters and it repeats. So I'm sure you know your C major scale, C, D, E, F, G. We don't go to H, we return to A, B, and then C again. Well, we know that this C and this C are different. They're different pitches in a literal sense because this one sounds like this and this one sounds like this. However, we know that they're very similar. They sound similar in the context of, let's say, a C major scale. They mean the same thing. I could play a C major scale that starts here, and I could play a C major scale that starts here. And it's going to mean essentially the same thing. This is a concept that we have in our music that we're studying that a lot of cultures have, not all cultures, but a lot of cultures have in their music, called octave equivalency. We think of all of these Cs as so closely related that we actually give them the same name. We call them C. We call this E flat. We call this E flat. This is actually taking one step beyond pitch and moving to pitch class. Think of the word class the way we use class. Here, we mean class in the sense of a category. This is a category of pitches that are all related by octave. So, we can say that this E flat and this E flat are two different pitches, but they're part of the same pitch class. Now, when musicians talk about pitch, they often will use the word pitch as kind of a shorthand for pitch class, and that's okay. Most of the time, as I just demonstrated with those 2 C major scales, most of the time they can be interchangeable. We hear this all the time when men and women sing together. They're often singing, we say unison, but they're actually often singing in octaves, with one group singing an octave above the other group. But we still think of them as singing the same thing. So this is the difference between pitch and pitch class. When we want to make a distinction between this E flat and this E flat, that is where registers come in. So if we want to use some common system that we're all going to be relatively in agreement on, we're going to use this numbering system. It was created by, I think, the American Acoustical Society or something like that. There are other octave designation systems. This is the one that we're going to use. It's probably the most widely used in the United States. It is used in some places outside the United States, but anyway, that's not important. The important thing to remember is C4. C4 is middle C, right? So if you can think of C4 as in dynamite, middle C is C4. And C is going to be kind of the keystone of this system. When we designate C4 to be middle C, that means every note above that middle C until we get to the next C, an octave above, is within the octave numbered 4. So this is C4, C sharp 4. We could say that it is enharmonically respellable as D flat 4, D4, E flat 4 or D sharp 4, E4, F4, and so on and so forth. This is all within octave 4. As soon as we get to the next C, if I was smarter than the weatherman, I would be able to do this. Here we go. Haha. This is C5. And then every note from here on is in octave 5. So this is all C5, C sharp 5, D5, D sharp 5, E5, F5, F sharp 5, G5, G sharp 5, A5, A sharp 5, B5, and then, what do you think this is? Say it out loud. I think I heard somebody get it. Now this is D6, so we're in D, C, C6, C sharp 6, D6, all right? So now we're in octave 6. When we look at the piano keyboard, again, this is not a full 88 keys, so don't worry about this. This is C4, an octave below that. C3. C2. If we go all the way down to the very bottom of the piano, again, this isn't going to light up because I'm going off the screen here. That is A0. So a standard piano keyboard begins at the low end at A0. So keep that in mind. That's fun little bit of trivia. There are some pianos that go below A0. They sound awesome. And that's what we're going to leave you with today. So pitch is the acoustical phenomenon, the thing that happens in our brain related to the acoustical phenomenon of frequency. Simpler way to put it is it's how high or low a musical sound is, right? Pitch is just how high or low a musical sound is. We use letter names to designate where those are, and if we want to specify the octave, we have to use a register number. Notes that are separated by an octave, say D4 and D5, or more than an octave, say D0, which is off the piano keyboard, and D16, which is also way off the piano keyboard, those are part of the same pitch class because they're both D naturals in some form, right? The same with any note on the keyboard. If we take any note in our system and move it any number of octaves up or down, those two notes are related by pitch class. So pitch is only this D. Pitch class is this D plus every other D. And then we're going to distinguish the different Ds within that pitch class using octave numbers. And remember again, for our system, C4 is middle C. That's it. Pitch class, register numbers, done. You may now return to your regularly scheduled Netflix.